Hello all, and welcome back to the Invictus stream. My name, as always, is Mr. Harlan Guthrie, and tonight we bring you a dive into the macabre, the terror, the horror that is Goblin 2 Return to Camp Kill. That's right. My name, of course, is Harlan Guthrie, and I'm joined once again by the talented, the fantastic, my very good friend, Mr. James Schwartz.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
And of course, we would not be here without the lovely, the talented, my wife-to-be, Ms. Jo Fallak.
Give it up. Thank you.
And, of course, guest starring tonight, Timmy Foot themselves, Mr. Alex Guthrie.
I'm here for brains tonight.
And tonight, we are here with Goblin 2, the Return to Camp Kill, as part of our Extra Life stream. That's right. We are doing these horror streams in support of Sick Kids Hospitals for Extra Life. November 6th, Joe and I will be streaming for 24 hours straight for the 5th year in a row. And every one of these streams is dedicated to raising awareness, the bar, money, whatever you want to call it. And every time we get a donation tonight, you're going to hear this sound. Assuming everyone can hear that sound. I don't really know, but
I hope so.
It's going to be an absolute blast. If you have the means, the motivation, the desire, or the finances, please consider donating. The link is in the description of this video. And I got new cheer sounds. Yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
love these new sounds.
It's like our crowd just got huge.
I know.
We love
I know.
you.
It's really tough to find the middle ground, to be honest, because the cheer I've been using for years is like the perfect size.
So Harlan was going through sound effects today, and you either get 80,000 people in a stadium,
Or, like,
or
5 people
one girl
coughing.
like woohoo.
Yeah, exactly. But no, that is it. So if you are, if you're excited, if you feel in the spirit, consider donating. It is going to make a world of a difference to some very important people.
Yeah, man.
Kids who are sick and the parents who love them dearly. And I am happy to report that we are over 2,000. I think we're at 2122 so far.
I think it's right up there, man.
It's up there.
I'm going to be keeping track.
Yeah, thank you to everybody who's donated. It is an absolutely crazy. Yeah. Oh no, it's
We're at
2222 right now. 2222. So yeah, but tonight is also about fun. We're gonna have a zany little romp. If you love the horror movies of old, and I say this with sort of Alex's. Hold on. This is
what?
the
Sorry.
This is the worried part. This is where it takes it
The
his
horror
drink.
movies of old.
He's just drinking it out of a jigger. You're like not even faking it. You're drinking right out of the measuring flask.
So that's what kind of night we're going to have tonight,
What kind of
guys.
night we're gonna have. It's just straight too. Great.
So that
if you
kind of
are a
night.
fan of the horror movies of old, and I'm not talking the Vincent Price ones, I'm talking about the ones in the 80s that were made by Italian directors that were very terrible because they didn't quite speak the same language as the
Were they
majority
called
of the
A
cast and the
movies?
writer. They're called D movies because
D?
I don't even
The
think,
movies.
Well, it's funny because we were trying to get inspired, so we're like, we'll put on a few minutes of a B movie. But there are a lot of bad B movies. But there are none quite as bad as the D movies, the movies that we are going to be riffing on tonight. The ones like The Troll, like Troll 2, or, Manos and the Hand of Fate type stuff. Like, there are bad movies like Alone in the Dark or any Uwe Boll film, but they're just bad. And yet, the production values are like off the charts. Like people get thrown through windows, and there's like actual fight choreography. And we started one. I'm like, no, this isn't a bad movie. What we are going to be playing tonight is like the jump cut, straight to VHS, handwritten title cards, like that level of bad. That's not really comparable. It has its own subsect of film, and it is one of my favorites. And we are diving in tonight with this movie.
I happen to be chatting with some colleagues today, and I told them about this B movie thing, and I said, "Give me some ideas because we were still throwing around names, and all of a sudden they started throwing out actual movie titles, and I said, "No, like you're not understanding. It's okay. Yeah. We're not doing an actual movie. We're doing a throw off of one, right?" But have you guys ever seen Evil Couch? I think it is.
No.
Oh, it's
That
really
sounds
good. Apparently,
good.
Evil Couch.
Yeah.
I like the sound.
But
of it.
on that note, I just can I give a shout out here?
Absolutely.
I have 5 people I want to give a shout out to. So there's
Oh.
Mickey. I want to give a shout out to you.
Mickey.
John, Bobby, Anya, and Lola. So
There you go.
here's to you guys. So here's to you all.
Here's to you, all 5, all of you. Yeah, there you go. Here's a fun little fact. Did anybody notice that I did not spell goblin correct? That in almost all of it, it's GOLBIN?
Goblin.
I didn't notice that at
None
all.
of you are copy editors.
Even the intro?
Yeah.
No, but like purposely. Like even the title card says GOLBIN.
Oh my god.
That's amazing.
But it's one of those words that you look at quickly and you're kind of like, that's right. We're good. That's
Is it
fine.
right there?
Yeah, it says it at the top
GOLBIN
of the
2.
screen. GOLBIN 2, Return to Camp. And the description of the video is great because it's like all
Camp
blemish
kill.
Camp Kill. And that's right. GOLBIN 2, Return to Camp Kill. I think we're ready for this. Are we ready for this?
Oh yeah, we are.
Let's
Ready
do
when
it.
you are.
Let's head in to
Let me get my
GOLBIN
costume
2.
on. Look at my costume on.
Better. Time for GOLBIN 2. Return to Camp Kill. Camp Crundle Cave has always been a place that you find your summers to be taking place. Why? Well, because it's cheap, and your parents like cheap. Each of your parents drops you off, and as you get off of the collective culmination of cars and buses, I guess however your parents send you there, we see each of you. James, who are we looking at getting off the bus, all rosy-cheeked and ready for his camp trip?
Oh, I love that. So getting off the bus all rosy-cheeked and ready for his camp trick, we have Frank Furter. Frank Furter is a...
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. He is a wonderful, kind of eclectic little boy. He's wearing a wide-brimmed hat. He has some sunscreen on his nose, and he's hopping off, and he's good old Frank. He is... I'm so excited. So we're using a end of the world system, and I love all...
System.
My favorite things, my favorite things about Frank, he doesn't know how to spell worth shit.
Perfect.
He's double jointed, and he does not respect his elders.
Nice. Yeah, I think Frank gets off the bus, you know, that like sunscreen on his nose, kind of looks around, and immediately some big, you know, hunky dude walks by and just pushes you into the mud. Frank Fruiter's back, nerd, and he leans down, like all sort of right in your face. You know, this like clearly this actor is like 32 years old, but he's playing an 18-year-old. His like skin is bronzed. He's not actually speaking perfect English either. He's like, Frankfurter, nerd. This American camp is going to be a great time. And as he turns away, a hand helps you up. Joe, who helps up a little Frank?
We see Jennifer Briggs. She is blossomed into a mature adolescent at this point. I think her character backstory in the first one is that she was like a nervous older camper, and now this is her first year as a counselor. She's got her hair braided into pigtails, and she has a really eager look on her face, her camp t-shirt straining over her ample bosom. She reaches down for this camper and picks him up out of the mud and sort of dusts him off. Oh, you poor thing. That's just awful.
Hi. Hi.
She spikes the camera.
Yeah, she spikes the camera, looking straight at it, and as she does, sort of blocking the shot, entering in and just standing right in front of the camera until someone taps him on the shoulder, we see Alex's character. Alex, who are we looking at?
You're looking at Timmy Foot. Timmy Foot is the poor kid. Timmy gets off the bus, dragging his small knapsack that's very old and got holes in it, and he's very thin, that is. He doesn't have a lot of meat on his bones. And Timmy, he's got no dad. He's only got his mom and no money. And this is the one thing he looks forward to every year, is coming to camp. What's the name of the camp again?
Camp Crundle Cave.
Like Camp Crundle Cake.
But he doesn't actually know it. You spike the lens. You're like, camp, and you hear director go, Crundle Cave from behind the camera, and then it gets
Crundle
cut.
Cake.
It
Crumble
jump cuts
cake.
immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we see Timmy and Frank. I think you guys are like the buddy characters. Like you were the ones coming back, and I feel like maybe Jennifer has been the camp counselor who was there last year, who maybe befriended the nerdier troop and made them feel a little bit more belonging.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I'm definitely trying to be the cool counselor this year. You can see that I've got my shorts like rolled up a little bit extra.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and as you all get off the buses and the bus is pulling away, the other camp counselors are like, come on, guys, let's play. And they like wave you over in a loud gesture that smash cuts to a large field where everyone's wearing their appropriate color jersey. And we see Timmy and Frank. Is Frank playing, or is Frank maybe on the sidelines? Like, what's Frank doing in this?
Frank's on the sidelines. You see that he's broken out in a little bit of a rash on 90% of his body. He has a mosquito net over himself, and has an inhaler. And every time it cuts over to him, or every time you see him in the background, he's just...
Yes. Meanwhile, Timmy is trying to be more of the athletic type. I feel like he's like maybe shoulder to shoulder with these big hulking 35-year-old actors. These Italian actors that were like flown in as the crew. They're just filling out the scene.
Yeah, but he's not like he's not really too comfortable, and like in real life, my actor is like just some poor kid that they found on the street. So
He thought it was
like
going to be
really,
his big break.
Timmy even in character, Timmy's like unsure if anybody really wants him on the team. You know, he's really, it's the sad story of the group.
Yeah.
But there's Jennifer, and she's like running with her hair flowing and blowing in the wind, and she recognizes Timmy.
There's a shot where the camera's just on a bunch of kids playing, and she's like kind of at the edge of the shot, and then she starts running in.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, exactly. It's the
bit like
80s.
that.
That's right. That's exactly what it is.
And then there's another shot of the exact same kids doing the exact same thing, but she's running at kind of a different angle, and she runs past Timmy.
Yeah, exactly. And
Hey Jennifer, it's nice to be back this year. Hopefully we can get some more food together. That'd
Nice
be
to
great.
see you, Tommy. And she runs by.
Timmy. Nice to see
Timmy.
you.
And then like there's like the games, and I feel like the games are like really cliche weighed in favor of like the obvious winners to set up the growth that your characters will have.
There's
the
like
bullies are
a
winning at first.
team of like big people, like adults,
Yeah.
who are pretending like adult actors.
Oh, 100%.
And then there's a team of children.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Love
low paid.
And then I feel like there's like a reel missing, because what happens is all of a sudden you're like mid conversation in dinner, and you're like in the hut, and Timmy, you're like mid making a big speech about, and you're making this big speech to Frank about living this year better than you guys have done the last. What does it sound like? It's you, Timmy.
Oh, me. Sorry. I'd just like to say thank you again for allowing me to come back at the discounted rate. I want to really thank everybody, especially Frank. Nice to see you again, Frank. And
Glad
Jennifer,
you're here, Timmy.
you're the coolest.
Jennifer's like five tables
I'm over
You're
the girls'
coolest
table.
camp counselor out there. It just
She's
had
like,
to do
what?
it. But guys,
everybody at my table, if we could make this the best one, and we are gonna win the award this year for the best team of camp.
Yeah. And like sitting next to Timmy is this like little kid again, like a child actor. He's like spiking the lens the whole time. And he's just like, but Timmy, what? I don't feel comfortable with getting out there and making a name for myself. The girls are so pretty. And he says, and he like gestures, and you see on the other side of the room, there's like the girls' tables, and they're all sort of like being rowdy and fun. And he's like, I don't think I can do it, guys. And this is like a character that was introduced in the missing reel, I guess, because there's clearly like Timmy, Frank, and him.
Yeah.
And they haven't said his name, so you don't know it, but it's kind of just assumed. And he's looking down and all trodden.
Well, Josh,
Did you say his name?
It's Josh now, yeah. No,
okay. Well, Josh, as I was saying to you earlier today, it's really not about, don't worry about what anybody else does. We'll focus on being the best that we can be. And, like I was saying to you just before the soccer game, it's lots of fun if you just put in 150%. And don't let the really mean people, who I like to call them GOLBINs, don't let those GOLBINs get to you. Because they'll really get at your soul.
Hey, dweebs! You hear a voice walking up to the end of your table, and the same dude who pushed you down, Frank, like leans over, lifts the bun off your burger, and he's like, and spits a big, thick loogie on top of it. And you see Jennifer, and this is that guy. That guy who from the missing. He's the one who you like in the previous movie. We didn't know, but no, he wasn't in the previous movie, but it's assumed that he was, and he's like the one who was hitting on you and then wasn't at all. There's obviously some tension here.
Oh, absolutely.
And you see him, puts the burger down, and he's like, "Eat it, nerd."
And there's a shot over this guy's shoulder of Samantha in the background. She was talking with her co-counselor.
Yeah.
And they were chatting. Then both the girls just look over, and her co-counselor's like, mouths it really exaggeratedly. He's so hot.
Yeah.
And Samantha's like, not Samantha, Jennifer. She's like,
what's my name again?
There's like a crisis.
Yeah, there's like a moment.
hot,
He's
but
like meant to be
mean.
this terrible character, but for some reason, the audience, the director wants them to think that you like him, but he's very detestable, and he's just like, whatever. And then all of a sudden, there's a hullabaloo, which means there's a lot of commotion. Kids start pushing out of their chairs, and they're running outside to the front, and they're like, he's gonna jump, come on! And everyone's like pushing and filing out of this. There's way too much organization for the scene for whatever reason. And everyone is running outside to see what happens.
Ooh.
What do you think's going on, Timmy?
I don't know, Frank, but were you going to eat that?
And Timmy grabs the burger with the loogie on it the way, because he's
no.
already eaten his food, and he doesn't, like, he's always hungry, this kid, right? Because he doesn't eat anything at home.
Oh, you're that kid.
Oh no.
He grabs the burger.
There's just extra nutrients on it, really, and Chad's really the coolest guy here.
Jesus.
I don't know, Timmy. I heard he has mononucleosis.
Oh.
Yeah, you walk outside, he's just like sleeping next to a tree.
I don't know what that is, but hopefully it's not the same guy trying to jump off jump off the
And as you get outside,
I
you
know.
see one of the other counselors. He's like standing on the roof. He's just sort of holding on to the flagpole. Again, everyone's sort of looking. They're like, oh, no, that's Ricky. Ricky, no. And Ricky's like, but I have to. I'm a fighter pilot. And he takes a big step forward. And in a terrible fall, you see him slow motion, that like from the 80s. Yeah, and it's like
that blurry blur.
And he falls, and then they smash cut, right, to like something else. And then it's like the nurse, and she's like wrapping something, and she's like, you have to be careful, Ellen. And then it like, someone runs in, and they're standing in the doorway, and they're like, Ricky fell. And then there's this like transitional wipe of just trees for about 5 minutes. And then Frank and Timmy, you're sitting beneath
Accidental
a tree.
overdubbing.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, good. Put the thing over there.
No, what it is, as it's happening, we hear Jennifer's internal monologue with like an echoey reverb on it.
Yeah.
And she says,
Just because it was my second year at camp doesn't mean it didn't all feel new.
Yes.
It's so strange. The first camper to get an injury is always the first camper to get an injury is always feels like it's the first day at camp. It always happens. And here we are with the worst injury of all. Death.
It's the worst injury of all.
yeah. And then I think it's like nighttime, right?
Very
and
good,
like
very good.
The camp counselor's like, ashore, and he puts his guitar aside and he's like, so campers, we had a tough day today, but you know, Ricky's in a better place, and then he gets cut. And there's like another dude standing in his spot. He's like, so campers, we had a tough day today, but everything's going to be fine. The first day of camp is always difficult. And I feel like there's just a random shot.
Mr. Counselor guy,
Yeah.
isn't it true that he was your son?
And you see his he snaps his neck and he looks off into the woods. He was. And then again, that's that. And he just keeps locking there. And Jennifer, you know some of these cooler guys. This is the one that spit on the burger, which his name was Chad now. And we have Bigsby and Todd and Torco. They're the big four camp counselors, and they've always sort of been
did you
cool.
say Torco?
Yeah, you know Torco. He's like the very clearly Italian. Like he was like a a lighting guy, and they needed another, and he's like, "Hey, how's it? My name's Torco." He's just kind of like standing there, like awkwardly in the background, very
With a
uncomfortable.
cigarette still hanging out of his mouth.
Cigarette still hanging out. Yeah,
Very good,
exactly.
very good.
And yeah, these are the cool counselors, and you see Chad, he's like, "Hey, Jennifer, right?
Yeah, that's me.
If you ditch those losers over there," and he points to Timmy and Frank, which they're nowhere near you, but he's like, "If you ditch them, well, maybe you can join us at the cool thing we found in the woods." Ricky went there yesterday, and he seemed fine up until his death.
Well, that sounds good, but it's so dark out, and I forgot to bring batteries for my flashlight.
Whatever. Obviously, she's not cool enough.
No. Yeah. I'll meet you at the flagpole in 10 minutes.
Ditch those weirdos, though, he says, and again points past you directly to Timmy and Frank.
And then the camera's at a totally different angle from behind Timmy and Frank, and you just see her from the distance look over her shoulder.
Yeah. And for some reason now, it's really hard pushed that Frank is your younger brother. Like, it was never established, and it made no sense, and he kind of had a weird sexual thing with you at the beginning, but now it's very clear that you're responsible for him.
Who? Do you mean Frank, my brother?
Yeah, don't bring that nerd. Where we're going, nerds won't make it. And that
Okay.
Timmy, leave him behind too.
I'll meet you there in 10 minutes. And then she takes a long way around the dining hall to meet up with Timmy and Frank. And she's like, listen, there's something cool going on in the woods with all the cool counselors. Don't ruin this for me, Timmy. You always do. Okay, but listen, if you're going to come along, they can't see you. You understand me?
It's great.
And if I catch you following me, there's going to be trouble, and I'll call Mom.
Yeah, now Timmy's the brother. Like, Timmy's the brother. Despite, like, them, like, pointing at Frank and the back of Frank's head, they just, like... and, like, Timmy's wearing the Frank wig now with, like, sunscreen on his nose. And, like, they've switched parts.
The important thing is not the name, but it's the sunscreen and the wig. Good.
Yeah.
We won't ruin it for you, Jennifer.
Good, because this is my chance. And then she turns around and she walks away.
And then the new Timmy turns to the old Timmy and says...
You got to do the lisp.
You don't have to do the lisp. No, the actor killed the lisp.
It's okay. I knew growing up on the streets that we had to survive to be good and make it. Come on. Let's
Is this
go
my
roll
story
over-
too now?
It's
Good.
everyone's story.
Good.
Let's go
worked
roll
on this.
around in the trash to get camouflage. They'll never
5
see
months.
us that way.
This is ridiculous. What are you paying?
No,
me
we can do
Yeah, and
it.
they cut, and then all of a sudden, the Timmy actor is like pulled off screen, and you're given your original role back all of a sudden, like they had some real conflict, and then a brand new actor is put back into the original Timmy role without the lisp. What does he look like, Alex?
Oh, he's just like a lot taller and like a much more handsome fellow wearing glasses.
Yeah, perfect.
I won't ruin it for you though, Jennifer. No,
And then I'm
Frank
back
and
in the
I-
scene.
Yeah, you're back.
And
in
I
the
walk
scene, but
away
you're like
again,
much
like-
more tired. The actress.
Fine. Just
Clearly
don't follow
on some
me.
heavy drugs, you know. Like
Yeah.
It's very obviously like between the two shots, it's much later in the day. All the shadows have moved like 45 degrees.
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect.
so there's
The coke fiend.
so there's party, Frank. There's a party. Oh, we gotta get to it, but we can't ruin it for Jennifer. But if we go,
Okay,
what if we go?
what should we do?
Like, what
Timmy?
is it?
What do we
Why?
do?
What? You ever notice how whenever every year we come here, someone dies the first night? That's fucked, eh? Isn't that fucked? That's fucked. That's so fucked.
Hey, speaking of, we just got a donation for $20.
Oh, thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you, Anonymous.
Also, look at this. Who's that sexy fella in the green top? Have not seen him before.
Oh my.
Oh, you need to tune in more often. Chic.
Watch the old eps.
Yeah, watch the old episode. He
Go
gets extra
dig
sexy.
through the back catalog.
Perfect. Yeah. So you, the two of you, sort of trudge off as the that theme, the only theme they have, sort of plays back. And Jennifer, yeah, you're like moving through the woods, but it's like a great repeated shot. Like it's the same stretch of very small wood that they have you go through multiple angles.
I'm brushing 2 tree limbs out of my way.
Yeah.
Over and over again. They scratch my face and I brush it aside.
Yeah.
And I
And you
look
can
through
see
the
a
darkness.
stagehand
and then I
off,
brush
off
another one
screen
aside.
holding one of the branches.
Just a
bringing it
hand.
past her.
Yeah, just moving it. And
There's,
then there's
little red text in the bottom of the screen that says later on.
and later on, that's right. And then as you like exit the frame, it goes back and it says previously, and it's the 2 boys moving through, and it's the same
it's the
shots.
same shot.
It's like
yeah.
that running shot, but things are moving by you. You're like standing still, but things are moving by.
Frank trips on the treadmill. And he just goes down, but you still see Temmie like continuing to walk.
Yeah.
And Frank just like he slowly just like
I catch up to the group and there's
Yeah.
this counselor who's smoking a cigarette and
He's
she
like-
she offers it to me and she's like, here.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Hey, have you ever had a marijuana cigarette?
of course I have. This isn't my first weeds ever.
Well,
I'm for sure.
if you want to be cool, you have to smoke the weed, she says, in like a very thick European accent that she's trying to hide.
Yeah, and I turn away and I like pretend to
a Russian
smoke
film.
weed and like wow.
Now you're cool. You can be part of the gang, she says, and she takes it back and then also pretends to smoke it. They're just up there. Ricky, Chad, he's up there. And she like points up the road.
Don't you think he's so hot? He's
feel
like the whole reason that I come to this camp.
Stay off. He's mine.
What? You don't have dibs. I have dibs. I called it yesterday.
And she like runs out of frame.
And then I look in the distance.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the voiceover part.
I knew that I had dibs because I called it yesterday. That's it.
Yeah, and then like right before you go up the hill, Timmy and Frank emerge from the bushes.
And I turn around dramatically. I told you guys not to follow me, and if you followed me to be quiet, and you followed me.
and we were quiet.
And
That's
we
right.
did follow you.
We'll stay
Quietly.
back. I don't want to be seen with my younger brother and his nerdy friend with a rash.
Hey.
That rash is not part of the character.
That's the actor's rash.
100%.
Jennifer,
That's great.
you're so cool. We would never do anything to ruin your coolness. We'll just hide over here. We can enjoy the party from a distance.
Okay.
Right, Frank? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're
you guys-
good at hiding.
If you guys
sneak
don't
us over
ruin this
some
for me,
marshmallows.
if you guys don't ruin this for me, maybe I'll bring you a marijuana cigarette. But you have to be so quiet. Okay, bye. And then I walk off.
Yeah, and then as the two get back into there, we have like a Timmy voiceover.
It was last year, this time, when nearly the same thing happened. Someone died the first night. Then we followed Jennifer out, and I ate those weird mushrooms that I'd found. And then there was this weird thing with goblins, but I don't really remember what happened. All I know is that we trapped them in a box.
And then there's a voiceover of Frank standing next to him.
Marijuana cigarette.
That's great.
Yeah, you you push through. Jennifer, you push through the brush. It's like a reused shot. You know, it's the same shot that.
It's
kinda-
not even new footage. It's just from
that's what I
before.
mean. It's the same shot. Like it's literally used. By the way, just to clarify, the prequel to this is like nothing to do with this. Like the prequel is like old people in space, and at the end they trap goblins in a vault. That's like it's one of those sequels that has nothing to do. Like Troll 1 and Troll 2 aren't even the same movie.
Right,
This is like
right,
they got
right.
the rights to it and nothing. Hey, Gray just donated $50.
Thank you, Gray.
Thank you, Gray.
Here. Cheers to you, pal.
For the kids.
Or
Cheers.
lady, or whoever Gray is.
Yeah, I don't know, actually. I think it's they. But either way, it's hilarious. It doesn't ruin anything by saying that was previous because
Good,
the whole
okay.
nature of these movies are just terrible. And, like, it would make sense that they're trying to
Establish
add
that
new-
there was
Right.
prior.
They're
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to establish
yeah,
something
yeah,
that
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
make sense.
That's
like
kind of what
Evil
I
Dead
thought.
2.
I'm like,
Yeah.
well, let's just put it in there anyways.
Exactly. Perfect. Yeah, you push through, and as you look down this short hill, Jennifer, you see the swamp, the Krungle swamp. All your friends are standing around throwing a football in the middle of the night. Go long, Tyler! Torco, no! And they're like laughing and playing. There's like a topless woman, like, wrong music. There's like a topless girl, like swimming in the mud. She's like, oh, Chad!
Swampy swimming.
Yeah,
I feel like
swampy
we've done
swimming.
this before. This is weird.
And then like we see Timmy and Frank like looking out through the bushes at the co-eds, you know. in
Like
the
there's
really
like a
terrible-
log in front of us, and like
Yeah.
our heads kind of poke up from behind the log.
and you both look at each other and you're like,
Frank,
boo!
Frank pulls out a telescope that's longer than he is, just from out from the log. He's like, Timmy, take a look at those bazoongas.
yeah.
yeah.
And I feel like this film is like a bunch of Russians have gotten some American actors to make some money, and they're
Yeah.
and so you've got like these Russian porn stars that like
Yeah.
way
There's
way
like full out
way
having
too much-
sex in the background. They're just like
Full
it's
full
like,
frontal
full front.
nudity.
Oh yeah, but it's like kind of
Vaginal
it's like
sex.
cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like
vaginal
full-
sex.
It's full penetration. Well, there are options,
Well,
but
yeah.
it's full penetration. It's just like
penetration
it's like
is
on a
important.
corner.
Yeah.
It's like not fully cut in, so they got away with it.
Yeah, it's just like
But
people
and Jennifer's like the actress is clearly uncomfortable, like trying not to look because they're still doing it. And as she kind of walks
The
down,
American
Chad
actors.
turns to her and he's like, "You made it, I guess. Did you leave those nerds behind?"
Hey, Chad. Yeah, I totally did. My brother doesn't need to be here. This is so cool.
This is too cool for him. And he takes off his shirt.
And she's like, whoa.
Yeah.
In the moonlight, your muscles look extra big.
Well, you should see
got,
them in the
he's got,
regular
like-
light.
He's got like clearly like Russian jail
Like
tattoos.
War tattoo. Yeah. Like
Like the prison tattoos.
but like there's
pen.
like a light dusting of makeup on top, but like it's
Yeah.
clearly not dark enough. Anyway, he's just like
They totally contoured for sure.
Anyway.
She looks into the bushes. She's like, what was that? I thought I heard something.
it's probably nothing, and he picks up a light and shines it into the woods, and there's like like a plastic deer.
Ah!
Oh,
Oh,
And then like Jennifer falls into him, right? The wildlife up here is absolutely breathtaking.
And then they do like a really slow motion, heads approaching each other, kiss.
And then Timmy and
But then
Frank
from
fall out of the bushes.
From another angle, it happens again.
Yeah. And then Frank and Timmy fall out.
Before you fall out, before we fall out, I say to Frank, dude, your sister, she's gonna do it, and that's when we fall out.
Yeah. And then it's like,
Do it. Oh.
what? Nerds! And he turns and he looks down at the two of you, like looking up in mud. And that's when you see in the background one of these swimmers. They're standing on something large and rectangular in the swamp, and they're like jumping off and diving. And Chad is getting really angry, and Jennifer, you're like kind of holding him back a little bit. He's like, I'm gonna pound you in the next week. And he's holding you, and he's like kind of going for something. And the guy in the background, Torko's like, hey Chad, look at this. And he bends down and he turns it's like big metal wheel on this vault. And slowly he lifts up this heavy vault and leans forward. And slowly he gets closer to the edge of this vault. And then he stops and turns around and he's like, I don't see anything inside. And this creature jumps up and attacks his face. It latches on as he spins around on top of this little swamp. He's like, oh no. Ah! And the creature is just like gnawing at the side of his face, and it pulls him into the vault as everyone goes wild and starts screaming.
Monster!
Next thing you know, you're running through the woods. It's like smash cut. And then there's a reel missing again. And I feel like the three of you plus Chad and a girl are like under a boat.
Yeah, like
that.
under
Like a turned over boat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a canoe. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah,
Jennifer's leading the way. And clearly,
An
she's already seen some
abnormally
shit because there's like
large
blood
canoe.
on her face.
Yeah.
But we're,
I
like,
got blood on my
underneath the
face,
boat,
and
the
I'm
three of
looking
us.
underneath, and we see some little feet go by, and they're like bad monster, like maquette feet, where it's like
slippers. Like
clearly no, it's made of like clay and like fake moss kind
Yeah.
of glued together.
Yeah.
And they just kind of they just like
you can see the hot glue.
Yeah, and they're not
One of
like
the toes
moving or
falls off
anything.
as
They
they
just kind of like
scamper
stomp.
by.
Yeah, and then a hand grabs the toe. Look, I kind of grabbed that piece that fell.
And she's like, if we have to destroy them, we have to figure out what kind of monsters they are.
And then she spikes the camera and has another monologue or thought.
I think I knew what kind of monsters they are, because when I was young, I did a presentation on fairy tales. These are goblins. Goblins need time, and most of all, they eat the people's energy, and that's what I have.
And that's when Timmy turns and he says, you know, he fills in the big gap. He's like, I can't believe they ate all of those camp counselors except for Jennifer. It was a bloody, gory mess. And their
Chad's like,
bodies were
"Not me."
stuffed back into the vault where the goblins came out of. And
That's
it
right.
sank back down to the bottom of the lake.
I don't know if they're done, though. They seem to be running towards the camp. We need to get there and head them off.
We have to save the rest of the campers, or my name isn't Jennifer Briggs.
And Chad, and everyone starts to leave, and Chad grabs Frank by the arm and turns him around. He's like, hey, what you did back there was real brave. You didn't have to jump in front of me, but you did. And you took that like a hero, man. I'm sorry for calling you a nerd.
No, that's fine. I'm a nerd, but I'm gonna be brave. And you know what? I'm not afraid to kill things. I can't. I'm not afraid to kill things now.
And you have a fucking knife for no reason.
Yeah, you just have it's like a blood-covered knife.
Big night.
Like the realness is a bunch of cool
comes down
deaths.
to it, you can bet I'll be ready.
That's
Well,
right.
I'm glad you got my back, kid, because you're the kind of kid that I think would be. Ah! And something jumps on his neck and starts biting him. And he's like,
Quick, run!
Do you want to attack it or run?
Oh, hell yeah. No, I jump on top of him. And
Yeah,
I
give
just
me-
like, the camera shows me and I'm just swinging
Yeah.
the knife like,
Dude.
ah.
It's
Oh.
mostly going into his own neck, but
And
yeah,
Yeah.
give me a
Timmy,
roll.
and Timmy, you're gonna roll. And while you're rolling, Timmy grabs like a big pointed stick and starts
Yeah.
poking, like attacking the goblin.
Yeah.
The GOLBIN, and
GOLBIN,
and
yeah.
there's like it's like the Army of Darkness, where, or I should say the
Evil Dead with the
really
doll.
bad, and
Yeah.
it's like I'm stabbing it,
Yeah.
and like there's like rice and beans pouring out.
First roll of the night.
Yeah, first roll of the night. What are we rolling?
40
D-
minutes in.
as many
let me get my
D6s
dice.
for your dexterity.
I totally did that then. I got, let's see, 16.
Sorry, no. You roll a number of D6s equal to.
You tell him how many.
Yeah, I forgot how to play this game. So you
Okay.
roll a D6 to try. You roll another D6 if you have any skills that are apparent, and you roll one D6 because you're fighting a creature, and that's the negative die. And you just tell me what the result of each one is.
So you need to know. You need to have 2 positive and 1 negative dice.
That's right.
Okay.
That's
And
how
they're
we play this
D6s.
game.
Gotcha. Okay, so
We got this figured out.
positives, I got a 10. Negative is a 4.
A 10. How'd you get
Oh
a
wait,
10?
no.
We don't add them together. Sorry.
Oh,
You need to try to get a number that's lower than the value of the skill that you're
Sorry.
rolling for. So you're rolling for what?
Right.
Dexterity.
Dex?
dexterity.
And
Yeah.
when we set up our skills, how many do we have to divide amongst them all?
10 points, and they all start at 1.
So to buy to level 2, you
Yeah,
spend
you're
1
great.
point.
So roll 3 die and just tell me what's on each one, and tell me which one's the negative.
Okay.
And I'll tell you if you succeed.
Okay, I got a 4, a 4, and a 5, which is the negative.
Okay, and what's your dexterity skill?
4.
So you do it. You kill this thing. Yeah. You stab it in its little belly. And what happens?
Love it. So I stab it in its little belly, and we see an explosion of that silly string just like shoot out of it everywhere.
Yeah.
And we kind of cut to like the next frame, and it shows that the knife that I have is actually like kind of bloody, and someone tried to wipe some of it off. But we look back at this big beefy jock guy, and he actually has like a pretty bad
Like a
wound
cut.
bandaged up like on
Yeah.
his neck where
He's like, let's get out of here. Good job, Frank. He like kind of limps forward and is in very much pain. Jennifer is like heading off through the woods. I feel like that
It's dusk again for some reason.
that's dusk again because they shot out of order.
It's like the next day, and they're like,
yeah,
trying
and
to get
I feel
the
like the fucking
reshoots.
little Russian like girl who is playing there, next to you is like running side by side to you.
Yeah, we're running back through the camp, and through the trees you can see these like lights sort of pointed down. They're like baseball diamond type lights, the floodlights or whatever,
Yeah,
pointed down at the field.
Yeah.
And there's some people gathered on the field, and it looks like they're in the middle of maybe getting ready for another campfire for some
Yeah,
reason.
they are. They're all like going, ha ha ha. They're doing like a song.
Yeah. And we come running out of the woods, me and this Russian girl. And
Yeah.
Jennifer's like, "Stop! There's something in the woods!" And people turn and they're like, "Ah, ha, ha, ha." And starts like expecting that it's a skit.
Yes.
And I turn around, I'm like, "No, you don't understand. There's something back there." Like, yay.
Yeah.
skit
And
time.
Timmy jumps in as well.
No, she's not kidding. There's goblins and they're killing people.
And the dude who's like another leader that no one's seen before, he walks up and he's like, Jennifer, you know me, Todd Macklin.
Of
and
course,
he like spikes
Todd.
the camera. It's like, my dad sells Fords down at Macklin Auto, the number one place to get your Ford engine. The
Macklin
86
Auto?
is in stock. Yeah.
Of course, that's the most reliable auto shop around, and it's like the only shop that's perfectly framed.
And then for a second, there's a number that shows up in the top bottom of the screen. Financing secure. And as he's like talking, he gets attacked. And he's like, ah! And there's another one like biting his neck. They're always on the same thing because like they're like attached to a back brace, the little dolls that he's like spinning around them. and everyone starts going crazy and screaming, and they're all clapping for some reason. And they're all running around.
But Jennifer's like, no, these are real, and she hauls off and she tries to punch the goblin off of this guy's neck.
Yeah, give me a punch.
I'm gonna give you a punch. Is that a dex or?
Yeah, dexterity.
All right. So I'm gonna I don't have a weapon, so I'll roll a positive and a negative dice.
Go for it.
I fail.
You do not hit.
I
And
punch
instead,
him in
you
the
punch the
face.
guy's face, and he's like, "Oh, Jennifer, Macklin Auto won't hire me now," and he runs off crying. And as he runs off, the goblins go everywhere. But you notice something. One of the little goblins, and you see them sort of for the first time, and they're like the worst puppets. It's like standing there. You can see the strings, and like it's like on an angle from where the little like wood stick is starting to bend in the soft grass, and it's like it's just going like this. Its eyes are like dead, and it's got white fur all around. It's like more like a monkey and like a hobgoblin. He's kind of like, and he goes, "Gooby goob, gooby goob," but it's clearly the audio is like coming from off camera, and someone's just yelling it, "Gooby goob," and he's got someone like entranced, and they're standing there, and they're like, "Oh," and they turn, and they're like, "I'm a rock star," and he starts like nodding his head and going like this, and as he does, you see he walks over to a tree and he smashes his head against it. And he dies.
Oh no.
And the goblin looks at you and he goes, "Gooby gooby," and he runs away. Meanwhile, Timmy and Frank are standing behind you.
The little kid actor who plays Frank found this scene to be too gruesome, and you can see his head like off screen.
That's great.
But they used it because it's like.
But they used it,
real,
yeah. They're
you
like,
know?
they just cut it
Yeah.
into a different part of the film. And he's like, waving, he's like, "Don't film it." It's just like hard cuts. Yeah, and Chad sort of like hides up behind you and he's like, "That must have been why the guy said he was a fighter pilot. They're doing something." And he points to another hobgoblin, which is making another kid like kind of go like this. And, you know, he's like, "I'm a jazz pianist." And he's just like smashing his hands onto like a lawnmower blade. And he's just like getting gross and dead.
Gross.
It's spaghetti night, guys. All they have to do is go in there and everything's going to pot. To shit, he says.
To pot, to shit. Oh no! And that's when Timmy turns to Frank and Jennifer. If they get to the spaghetti before we do, they're gonna eat it all, and they'll start to multiply.
And Jennifer gets another monologue.
I knew that what Timmy said was true because he knows these things about goblins and ghosts and vampires. I think it's from the fairy tales. So I knew that the spaghetti was in real danger, and it's because it was spaghetti night, my favorite night of the year. I've been looking forward to it for so long.
Smash cut to.
The next day.
Yeah, it's just the next
leftover?
day.
I always, yeah, I've
At
always
breakfast,
loved
we're in the
leftover
dining hall.
spaghetti.
Yeah, it's at breakfast.
There's something about spaghetti that's just
And the old
know,
Timmy
it
actor's
keeps
back
you
because
over
they
time.
filmed this stuff first. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, what are you doing the next day, Jennifer?
So Jennifer is up with the cooks of the
Yeah.
camp.
Yeah.
They're serving these big, disgusting splorts of oatmeal into like these bowls, and all the kids are like, "No, oatmeal." And it's just this mundane scene, apropos of nothing.
Yeah,
where
but-
she's just like,
But there's like a weird like goblin vibe from these cooks. Like for some reason now the cooks like got turned into goblins maybe because they're like and the oatmeal's like very green and there's like a slow zoom in on the oatmeal and then it snaps to Jennifer's thinking face.
slow
she's
zoom
like
in on the oatmeal.
looking pensively at this bowl of oatmeal, and
Oh,
she's like,
oh,
thoughtfully adding raisins.
But as it
slow
gets
motion,
closer-
each raisin falls down, da-dong, onto
But Jennifer,
the surface.
as it gets closer to the oatmeal and each raisin hits the surface, you see the maggots and worms and insects, and they're all like creepily
And then
crawling
there's like a
inside of the
close up
oatmeal.
of Jennifer's hand in the bowl of oatmeal, and she just drops it, and it just like clangs to the floor, and oatmeal and maggots fall out.
This is
And then
also-
Jennifer wakes up somewhere.
I'm in my bunk. I'm like all like wrapped up in blankets and pillows, and I have a stuffed bunny beside me.
Yeah.
And I pick up my bunny and I sit up and I'm like, Mr. Fluffles, oh, it was just a bad dream.
And you're like back home. And then you wake up again. And Frank is like slapping you and you're in the woods. Like you're right under the canoe, you know? Frank.
Get a hold of yourself. We have to keep going. They need to be stopped.
Okay. And I have a baseball bat and it's covered in goblin blood and fur.
And it's still spaghetti night. And you realize that you had we realized that Jennifer had a premonition that if they don't stop spaghetti night, tomorrow the oatmeal will have goblin in it and turn all the campers to goblin.
Obviously.
And
Yes.
we're meant to get that.
Obviously.
Yes. Yes.
That's the clearest.
Listen, I know that we don't have much time, but we have to stop the goblins from getting to spaghetti.
And I feel like you like look over to the woods and there's like a tall, stoic, like man in like wizard garb who like nods to you knowingly. and then in like a puff of smoke, he's gone. Like that was like an explanation for something. Like he's like, oh, that's why she had the premonition. Like he did his part.
Perfect.
Oh.
Yeah. But you hear the tables being set for spaghetti night and the goblins all running towards it.
All the cult fans watching this film get their bowls of spaghetti out, and they're like,
Yeah.
Don't let it go to waste.
Dude, and then this is where the friend turns to his other friend who's like, why are we watching this? Just wait. He's like, honestly, spaghetti night is my favorite part of the movie. You're going to love this. There's some awesome scenes. Just trust me. This is where it gets good.
There's like this
With the
golden
oatmeal? Oh, don't tell me the oatmeal.
Don't
There's
say
like this golden light leaking out of the dining hall, and it's up on top of a hill, so you can see it through the trees. And there's all these campers inside, like happily eating, and then these little shadows are like climbing up the hill towards the dining hall, and we're all sitting in the trees watching it happen. And we're like, we all look at each other, the three of us plus the other dumb counselor and the hot counselor and like a couple of like B characters. We're like, we have to do something. This
Yeah.
is our chance.
Yeah, this is the montage scene.
Put
where
your
you
hands in.
Where you use all your know-how to build something awesome. Frank.
Obviously.
No, but Frank's the one. And suddenly we get an internal monologue from Frank about how he's smart.
It's all come to this. I've been preparing for this since the moment we found out about the goblins. And then it's like Frank's going through and he's like, I got that knife from the barn, and we also have this string that we got from the other barn. And when we were in the woods, I found this car engine. And he's just like listing all of these things. And when the camera like pans out of his monologue and it turns back to the rest of the scene, Frank has built a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like a 1970 Ferrari, which in the 80s is like 10 years old.
What's that auto shop again?
Oh, yeah. It's a big. I don't remember.
Branded by, like, McLean.
Macklin Auto is just like it's like
it is a Ferrari, but yeah, it says Macklin Auto on it, and they've pasted over the Ferrari symbol with the Ford symbol.
it's so good. Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Wonderful.
Perfect. And you created it.
Yeah, guys.
And then you open the trunk and there's guns inside.
Oh,
Yeah,
obviously.
but it's clearly not the Ferrari trunk. It's like the trunk of an old Buick or something.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very different
Yeah.
when they smash cut in. Yeah. And you open it, you all arm yourselves, and as you pour in through the front doors, of the dining hall, there's sort of like a quiet stillness. You sort of look over everybody. And then, true to the audience member who's like holding his hand up, waiting for his friend, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
Jennifer jumps up onto a table and starts pumping round after round into each little goblin,
How do you do
blowing
that?
them away. Yeah, that's right. They're just getting exploded into little tiny bits. Timmy.
And pulled it through.
Thank you.
Timmy, what does Timmy do?
Timmy has a baseball bat with a couple of nails, through it, and Timmy's just going to town. And he's like, "This one's because I couldn't join baseball; it was too expensive. Wow! And this one's because I couldn't join cricket; it was too expensive. Wow! This one is because..." And he just go
And Frank, you enter. What do you do?
Frank has like a giant bag just full of hammers. And he pulls the hammer out and he throws it. And then he pulls another hammer out and he throws it. And you can tell it's the same hammer, like marked up with like a special like red spray paint handle, but they're pretending he has like an unlimited supply of it.
Yeah, and Jennifer, you get to do one because I did yours.
Yeah, no, Jennifer is shooting goblins as they pop up, and she's standing on this table in the dining hall, and she turns around and she shoots a goblin, but one of the counselors is in the way, and she accidentally shoots her friend.
No!
Yeah.
No!
And like the kicker is, like, someone dies during the making of the film.
Yeah.
She actually shoots like one of the people that are working on set.
Yeah.
They
Just
make
like
it,
it's like a real
into the
live
movie.
round. It gets really awkward for a moment, and then it just smash cuts to them being done, and all of the goblins lay dead around everybody, and all the counselors sort of like sit up. But then one of the goblins starts to get put back together.
Oh no.
And all of the goblins start to get put back together. And Jennifer has this monologue.
That's when I knew that these goblins were going to be more tough than any goblins we'd fought before. Not like in the last year when there was 100 goblins. This is like having more, because once you kill them, they came back stronger. I look to my left, I look to my right, and I see goblins.
And then Timmy also like joins in on the monologue.
I knew right then and there, by Jennifer's look on her face, that there was only one way to really get rid of the goblins. And then I thought about the vault. There's only one way. And I said it out loud. The vault!
Smash cut too.
No, not even. It's like a long take.
Oh, good.
It's like a take that should be cut, but for some reason it's not cut.
The vault! Is that good?
Yeah. It's good. One more time. One more time. Get the little boy to say one more time. Get the little shit boy to say one. No, say one more time when I say action. Go. Action.
The vault!
Smash cut. And you are running through the woods as goblins are hot on your trail. Little goblins sort of running around, gnawing at you. Chad is just being eaten alive. There's a boat over on its side. And as you run, you're full of spaghetti. And
Jennifer's boobs are bouncing in slow
Oh,
motion.
yeah.
Clearly she's had a boob job that's like 80s style, right? But it's like she's got spaghetti in her hair.
yeah, you got spaghetti in your hair, and you're running, and you get to the shore of the swamp, and you see the vault out in the middle of the swamp.
That's the vault.
Gooby goob! You hear the voices from the woods behind you.
What's your plan, Timmy?
We need to get all the goblins in to the vault. And there's only one way I can think of it. Convince them.
Yeah, that's
Someone's
right.
got to do a convincing monologue.
Goblins love to be convinced of things. So, both of you look to Frank at the
Yeah.
same moment.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is what all those years of speech and debate prepared me for. This is it, Frank. You might not be good at spelling and you haven't won any awards yet, but this is your moment to shine. Okay.
And you walk
I'm
up
ready.
to the cliff that overlooks the swamp as the goblins all begin to move out from the woods. But they stop when they see your presence and they wait.
Goblins, I know you have come here searching for food, but you have only found death. That is all you have given us. We all need to work together in order to survive. And you can't do that here anymore. We all need to get you into the sarcophagus. And after that, you all can go find a new planet made out of spaghetti. You don't need us to make it. The planet will provide.
And just then, as Frank finishes his monologue, Timmy also joins him standing on top of the vault. And he continues the monologue and says, I too am hungry constantly because my family cannot provide for me to eat. I am one of you, really. When it comes down to it, I too am a GOLBIN. And don't eat me. Let's all eat each other. I'm a spaghetti.
And then
Jennifer goes up
turn.
and she's like, listen, goblins, one and all, small, big, old and young. You come here today out of the vault because you wanted to cause trouble at our camp. This is Camp Crundle Cave. And we know that unfortunately goblins are not allowed here based on our policies. But if we look deep within our hearts, maybe we can find a place for goblins to be together with humans as long as you promise not to eat us. And if that's not something that you can do, well, then you're going to have to go home.
And with that, you see the goblins sort of confused. They turn to each other, sort of muttering little goblin words. And one goblin walks up towards the three of you. And he says, "You've given us all that we need. We came to your land to prosper and try to live as equals, but the truth is, it was you who taught us what it means to be equals. Let us home, friends." And all the goblins nod in appreciation. And as they trudge across the swamp and head back into the space vault, the door seals and the rockets begin to rumble. As you see the square vault lift off into the sky, and the goblins leave Earth. The next morning is pretty normal. Everything seems to be back to Camp Crundle. Despite all the people dying, it stays pretty much the same. They're actually all back. You see Chad, who was like super eaten, is like back, but he's just wearing a crutch, and he seems to be fine. He kind of gives you thumbs up. And Jennifer, you're doing an overview of breakfast. And as you're handing out bowls of lovely oatmeal, you're sort of passing them out. You look down at the oatmeal. It slowly zooms in. Your eyes for a moment flash up to Timmy, who's been eating tons of the oatmeal. He was the first one, of course. You always give your brother firsts. And as you look up across the room in slow motion towards Timmy, you see exactly what happened when he ate the oatmeal first.
Oh no! Think to me! I know it.
And that, my friends, is GOLBIN 2, Return to Camp Kill. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. This was an absolute blast. Wait, that was only an hour.
Yeah, that was only an hour. I was
Yeah.
like, are we going to end really early? Because
Shit.
this feels like a natural conclusion.
Now, I mean, it does
Yeah.
feel like a natural conclusion.
Should we do
like
a
another
commentary?
Tales of the Crypt and just do
Should
a
we do a
second one?
concert?
Like director's commentary on the...
A director's commentary on the terrible thing that just happened? Yeah, we could do that.
That's
It's funny
included
because-
on the VHS. It's
Yeah.
the last half of it.
Well, on Tuesday nights, we do 7:30 to 9:30. So I was like, oh, you know, we're ending 23 minutes earlier. But I forgot we normally do 8 to 10. So that's okay.
It's nice though, honestly. Sometimes you just
mean,
want to play a short little
but
baby
we could do
game.
GOLBIN 3.
GOLBIN 3 Return
Could
of the
do
Gobes.
GOBLIN 3.
We could do GOLBIN 3.
Someone dies right at the beginning.
To return to
hey.
Camp Kill again.
I
Nah, you're
know
right. Let's end short and sweet. I think it's always better to leave people on a high.
Then
ladies
let's
and
do it
gentlemen,
in character, a director's commentary.
Well, as we exit?
Well, about the shooting of it. Like give a quick interview. Maybe I'll be the interviewer.
Yeah, to Timmy.
No, to the director, yourself.
Who's the director?
You.
You are.
Me? Yeah, okay, I get you what you're saying. Oh, he's getting in character. He's
Hold on,
changing
getting
his
into character.
sweater. He's
I'm
just really
excited about
hot.
this.
He
It's
committed.
gonna be good.
He's really hot.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're here tonight with the director of the movie Goblins 3, which Goblin 2, which is coming out to theaters. See, I got it confused with Goblin 3 because that's coming out to theaters almost immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
So Goblin 2 is
No.
now out in theaters, but we
No.
have got an exclusive interview here with the director of Goblin 2. So tell us, your name, Sergey
No,
Ven-
really? Really?
Really? Sorry.
No, really?
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 Your name is Really?
It was good movie.
Yeah, so what
Actors
inspired you?
good.
That's great.
I was gonna say this.
What? Tell us. What?
Good, Jennifer good.
Yeah.
Boy good.
Now, which boy? Because there were two real main characters in the film. There was Timmy Foot. and
The
there was
little
Frank
one.
Herter.
Not feet.
It's Frank.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, you must do so many movies. It's difficult to remember all the names, of course.
No, he's no good. Blacklisted. He's no good. I do Goblins 3 like this. I think space. What is better than space? So we move up to space. And it's interesting because Timmy Foot, he asked me if he could be in the movie. I said, no, there's no way.
Good. Yeah.
Terrible.
Oh, excellent. And so tell us, what inspired you to make Goblin 2? Because
Goblin 1
was such a
Goblin 1.
very bad failure. You know,
Yeah.
was it?
Thank you.
Oh, well, okay. Luckily for us, we were able to get a second interview with. Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for tonight. Let us leave on the amazing opening credits because I think they were so good. And that'll be it for us. Ladies and gentlemen, we will
Hey.
see you next Wednesday night.
Donate to Extra Life.
Donate to Extra Life.
Yes.
Absolute blast.
that's for children's charity. Okay.
Children's charity. Next week, the 20th, we have special guest star Tim Woods joining us.
Timmy!
We don't know what we're going to be playing, but that is it from us, as my brother Alex always likes to say.
Come back to me, okay? Come back to us on the INVICTUS stream. Yeah.